Another tough one tonight, Miami Dolphins fans. How are we doing? It is Ben Morgan of the Fins Up Network. As our Miami Dolphins drop our second straight, falling to 1-2 on the season after the 24-3 loss to the Seattle Seahawks. Not just a loss, an ugly loss, an uninspiring loss. Let's just say it, a pathetic loss. Guys, as you can tell, I am doing a live stream tonight, so go ahead, jump in with any chat comments that you have. Love to be interactive during these, so throw out your thoughts, your takeaways, any questions you have. Go ahead and throw them in the chat. For those of you guys that are catching the replay, appreciate that as well. Definitely drop your thoughts in the comments. But let's get things kicked off right away, because the biggest concern, obviously, heading into this game is how does the team look? How does the offense do without Tua Tagovailoa at quarterback? Well, we got our answer, and it was, like I said, it was pathetic. Skylar Thompson goes 13 of 19, just 107 yards. He was sacked 5 times before leaving with an injury. Mike McDaniel, in his post-game presser, called it a rib injury. It initially looked like more of a shoulder injury, but quite honestly, kind of thought this before the game, and today just kind of just reassured this thought. Skylar's not the guy. He doesn't process things at an NFL level. He doesn't process it quick enough. He doesn't feel the game. He doesn't see the game at a quick enough level, especially in the way that this offense runs. And when you can't do those things with our offensive line, it's a recipe for disaster, and it leads to things like 5 sacks and taking big hits and having another injury. Let's just sum it up this way. We watched a guy before halftime have 2 chances of throwing a Hail Mary, couldn't even execute it. I was scratching my head the entire time halftime was going on, just saying, how did that happen? Just how was it that inept? The offense in general, how was Skylar just that inept? And I don't want to just keep harping on Skylar, but obviously he's an NFL quarterback, and that's what we do after a loss like this. We feel it, obviously. And just like I said, Skylar is just not quite the ticket, and it leads to Tim Boyle coming in after that injury. Honestly looked a little bit better than Skylar, but that wasn't saying all that much. Goes 7 of 13, 79 yards. He was sacked once, but when you are down to Tim Boyle, Dolphins fans, you know it's just going to be one of those days. Today, honestly, gave me flashbacks of what the Miami Dolphins those last couple of years before we selected Tua Tagovailoa and had Mike McDaniel as the head coach and play caller. And quite honestly, it was just painful. You're just waiting essentially for the game to end. You're just like, all right, I'm a Dolphins fan. I'm going to watch this. I'm going to see it through. But you just, the hope was gone. The inspiration for even some sort of comeback was gone. And keep in mind, the only points, the 3 points that this offense mustered happened because of a Kader Kohou interception that got us down to the 6-yard line. We were already at the 6, couldn't even punch it in from there, given that field position. This offense, it was another just constipated effort, we will call it. Tyreek and Waddle combined for 7 catches for 66 yards. Neither of them had a play that stands out and did nothing that puts fear into the defense, and that's what they're known to do, putting fear into opposing defenses. We saw no plays that put fear into any of the defenders of the Seattle Seahawks. And I'm not blaming Tyreek Hill and Jaylen Waddle. It's just another example of exactly how inept this offense is and was and has been whenever Tua is out. Now, the question is, it's kind of the obvious question. It's who's going to start on Monday night? Because we do it the extra day, which is good because we're traveling back from the West Coast. We get that extra day not playing until Monday. So if it ends up being a guy like Huntley, maybe you get a little bit more time. But it's a completely different offense compared to what he's been asked to run in the past. But quite honestly, where do we turn? Where are we going to go from here? Skylar's hurt. It might not even be an option. Boyle was fine, but man, he was your emergency or your practice squad quarterback for a reason. You made the move. You got Huntley. If I'm going off the top right now, I'm saying Huntley. Like I said, I want to hear your thoughts as well. Who do you got going on Monday night? We'll obviously be talking about it throughout the week. Game. Let's talk a little bit about the defense. Going down 10 after the Seahawks' first 2 possessions was about as unfortunate as it could have been. This was a game that you would like to get up by 2 scores, be able to control the clock a little bit, run the ball a little bit more. We'll talk a little bit more about that, obviously, as well. we also need to keep in mind, like I said, there's good and bad from this Dolphins defense today. That Seahawks first actual touchdown, we gave him a short field. Sanders missed that long field goal on one of the rare opportunities where Mike McDaniel doesn't go for it on fourth down. But Seattle, they kick their long field goal, they make it. We kick our long field goal. It doesn't go as well. And honestly, it backfired. In that situation, you can, hindsight's always 20/20. You're like, we should have just went for it at that point in time. But I understand he wanted to kind of go even with them after they had already made their field goal. But their only other touchdown, except until the one that came late in the fourth quarter where the defense was essentially just drained. I'll say that. They were essentially drained at that point in time. Came on a one-play drive, the 71-yard bomb touchdown to DK Metcalf. And that play, talking about having a head-scratcher play, Javon Holland, he had a rough day. Absolutely bit on DK's little fake that he put out there, and it was 6 from there. But following that touchdown, the Seattle Seahawks drives. They had a missed field goal. They had 4 punts, an interception, and then they had that last touchdown to just basically cap the game off. But 6 possessions in a row, our Dolphins defense, they did their job. They kept Seattle off the scoreboard. Hell, they even gave us good field position on one of those drives after the Zach Sealer interception as well. But honestly, when that Dolphins defense was good, it was a nice showing really of what they're capable of. It was essentially they locked down DK Metcalf from that point in time. He had a catch, I believe, the rest of the way. It was getting pressure on Geno Smith. We ended up sacking him 3 times. It was getting those hands into the passing lanes. We saw that as Calais Campbell gets his hands up. Sealer gets the interception. We had the near sack by Emmanuel Ogbah. Kader Kohou gets the interception. But unfortunately, when you only score 3 points on offense, your defense has to be, you only scored 3 points. Your defense has to be 100% flawless. And it obviously wasn't. And that's obviously an impossible ask of your defense just in general. Let's throw this up here real quick. So we had 10 days to prepare for this game, and this is what we came out with. That's exactly it. That is the short version of saying what I've just been saying this entire time here when it comes to that. Like, you had the extra prep time playing last week on the Thursday. Yeah, you had to do the travel and everything, but you knew what you were going into. It wasn't breaking news that Tua wasn't going to be able to play in this game. That was not the case. We knew from the moment Tua went down on that Thursday night, we knew that it was going to be Skylar Thompson's show. And yeah, this is what we came up with. And that is, and Mike McDaniel, I didn't catch his entire press conference. I'm guaranteeing you, he's going to end up saying, it was on me. I need to get the team more prepped. Like I said, I didn't even see it, but I'm guessing that's probably one of the things that he said. But yeah, that's the truth. He does have to be more prepared. Chad's got another comment here. I like this. Skylar being hurt makes the coach's decision a little easier. He's the worst quarterback I've ever seen, and I'm not being dramatic. Right there with you. It's pretty damn crazy at this point in time. But yeah, maybe that's a thing. It's just like, well, we don't have to worry about him at this point in time. Let's just go out there and maybe throw out a guy like Huntley. Like I said, let me know. Drop your thoughts on that in the comments as well. Let's talk about that play calling and just that overall lack of success on the offensive side of the ball. A couple of things that stood out to me from my notes today. We ran just 18 times in a game where we needed to run the ball. We ran for 65 yards. Jaylen Wright had 2 carries for 17 yards. If it was 2 carries for 1 yard, I would understand it. But 2 carries for 17 yards, that guy needed more carries, more touches in general, and more touches early. When he was going, it looked fine, and then we just abandoned it. And that's what we were scared of. If we get down, are we going to abandon the run game? Well, 18 times, 65 yards, and Jaylen Wright, who looked good when he got the ball, 2 carries, 17 yards. Penalties, committed 11 penalties for 85 yards. Third down conversions, went 1 of 12. The one and only third down conversion didn't come until the 4th quarter. Now, we talked about that interception from Zach Sealer. We had a chance to cut it to a 1-score game at that point in time. We got down into the red zone area, and the 3rd and 4th down play calls inside the 10. It was a pass to Durham Smythe, which was, by all means, I don't like the idea of throwing it to the back of the end zone to Durham Smythe. I think we can draw something better. The ball was there. Smythe should have caught that ball. But regardless, 3rd down, you're throwing it to Smythe, and 4th down, you're throwing it to Achane, which is essentially like a play where he was behind the defender. You're going to throw a slant. You're going to throw something quick to Achane. I get it. Why are you throwing him what's essentially a jump ball? I don't get the play calls on there. A text I got following this game, told me that through 3 weeks, 33 points scored, 29 penalties that Miami Dolphins have committed. What planet are we playing on if that's going to be the case? Like, we're never going to win. You can't win with that with that recipe, essentially. In general, the crowd noise bothered the hell out of us. We talked about that in the pregame show as well. Our motion has been and was once again out of whack when Tua wasn't that quarterback. Aaron Brewer, if you were watching his snaps early in that game, they're all over the place. We talked about how much this offense predicated timing, motion. If your snap comes up here, that's screwing things up. And then you combine that quarterback with all the motions that you're doing. That's just too much. That's too much for Skylar Thompson to handle. And you, like I said, you add the noise to all that. It's just not good. And that's just some of the notes that I had. I'm sure I left a few things out in that realm as well. And I know the offense was built for Tua. It was built around Tua. I know that we're not going to click at a super efficient rate as we did at times quite often last year. But NFL teams are winning with backup quarterbacks, and it's not us. The Packers, Vikings, Steelers, Panthers all won today. They all won today with backup quarterbacks. And guess what? We've got at least 3 more of these things, 3 more of these games without Tua in there. So McDaniel is going to have to get things figured out and get them figured out fast if we're going to stay afloat. We talk about going 2-2 during this stretch, 3-1. Hopefully, these were some winnable games going into the season with a healthy quarterback and everything. We would have been favored in all 4 of these games that Tua is scheduled to miss. It'd be hard for Las Vegas to put us as favorites in probably any of these games at this point in time. So yeah, we got to somehow stay afloat. I want to wrap up with some injury talk as well here real quick. Let's throw this out here. Huntley needs to start with basic vanilla offense play calling, limit the motion plays. This team is not disciplined to do enough motion, even with Tua, because the offensive line is abysmal. And yeah, that's such a huge part of it, because think about how many reps Tua has got in previous years, and then this offseason with all those motions and everything. And now you're just going to throw Huntley in there. The game plan, the scheme, everything really has to change. I've watched the Packers games the last couple of weeks. They changed their offense just dramatically. They've been running the hell out of the ball. And then when they've asked Willis to throw the ball, well, guess what? The opposing team is so used to them, and they're having success with it, and they're sticking with it, and they're not scared to abandon it at this point in time. When they ask him to throw it, guess what? There's a passing lane. We need to be able to improvise. We need to be able to find a way. And whether that's Huntley or not on Monday night, and now we all have PTSD, because remember what happened the last time we played the Tennessee Titans on Monday night? Kind of killed the season. We suffered injuries. I believe it was to Connor Williams. I think Tyreek got hurt in that game. We blew the lead late in the 4th quarter. We lost the game, lost the opportunity for the division, for home field advantage. Sorry for bringing it up. We're just pouring salt in the wound at this point in time. We were talking about some injuries, though. Sorry about that. Guys that missed time today with injuries, I think I got them all. Skylar Thompson, Teron Armstead, Alec Ingold, Austin Jackson, although he only missed like a play. David Long, Kendall Fuller, Storm Duck. When's it going to end? How are we this cursed? I watch a lot of other football. I swear I don't see this many injuries happening on a weekly basis. And we'll obviously talk more injuries throughout the week as we lead up to that Monday night game. But Mike McDaniel, I did catch a headline. He did announce that Teron Armstead and Kendall Fuller are both in concussion protocol. So Teron Armstead, we've been through 3 games. He's dealing with a shoulder, a knee, and he came out with an eye injury, and now he's in concussion protocol with that as well. So eye, concussion, shoulder, knee, 3 weeks. Dolphins fans, I don't know. I don't want this to be a long season, but at this point in time, it's just like we're just kind of like surviving each game at this point in time, which, like I said, kind of brings us to the next week. What we're going to be doing next year on the Fins Up Network is previewing that game. Once again, it's a team. Tennessee Titans are struggling. Like I said, I watched a lot of that game today. They gave up, I think, 8 sacks. Levis threw 2 interceptions. It's not all doom and gloom. We're playing a team constipated, not as consistent offensively as we do right now. So unfortunately, for what appears to be, I don't know how many times in a row here, the national audience is going to get a Miami Dolphins Monday night game where we're not going to look like the high flying offense like when we got to play the Ravens in the past and the Broncos last year. It's like the national audience never gets to watch us when we're clipping like that. That's just it's so unfortunate. But once again, we're going to be in a primetime audience with the Tennessee Titans on deck, which is, I don't want to say guaranteed to be just an all right ugly game, but if I had to put money on it today, I would say, yeah, this is not going to be an enjoyable watch. But we're Dolphins fans. We see it through. It's what we do. Dolphins fans, I'm going to wrap it up from there. But like I said, if you're catching this on the replay, I'll throw this up here. I was going to say, if you're catching this on the replay, give me your thoughts, give me your takeaways from the game in the comments as well. Have you heard anything about Tua and his progress, if any? Yeah, like we talked about in the preview videos as well, and you saw him on the sideline today as well. He did get to travel with the team, which is obviously a huge step. There's reports out there he's been able to do some light work as well, as long as he's not feeling any discomfort, dizziness, any of the concussion symptoms. And I've been told that he is feeling good. Everything is going well. There's not like he's not been like a relapse with the concussion or anything. So as of today, I would say that yes, that Week 8 game against the Arizona Cardinals is likely going to end up being the return date. Obviously, things can change. We'll keep an eye on that, and we'll continue to monitor it as those weeks progress. But at least as of what we have today, the progress has been pretty good. Let's just at least just put it that way. Like I said, though, Dolphins fans, thanks to everyone that tuned in live. Like I said, if you're watching it on the replay, go ahead, drop your thoughts in the comments as well, and we can we'll chat more there, Dolphins fans. But get set. It's going to be a rough night. Probably not going to sleep as well as we did after that Week 1 win, after drawing up back-to-back losses here. But we got a little bit of time now. Let's get prepped. Let's get whatever quarterback we're going to trot out there. Let's get him set for Monday night and not be an embarrassment on national TV. Dolphins fans, I am going to wrap it there for today. But until next time, Fins